Okay. Yeah. Hello, friends. I want to introduce you to my friend and someone who's becoming a mentor as well. Her name is Chetana. I was so fortunate to be able to attend, to participate in a workshop that she was co-leading last year. Um, and I was so, I was so moved by the process that and what I witnessed, the transformation that I witnessed in other people, that I just felt compelled to help her to bring this work to more and more people. And I was especially, just delighted that this year she's going to expand her workshops for women only. So she's already has plans to do a workshop for women in Peru, and then we're hoping to put something together in the United States as well. So with that quick introduction, I'm just going to let Chetna tell her story about the workshop for women, especially, how she started it, why she's so passionate about it, anything else that that she wants to share at this time.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hi, ladies. So, Elizabeth attended a training with my partner and I back in Sedona in October. What we do together is something called biodynamic breath and trauma release. And in my work with BBTR over the years, I came to notice that one out of every two or one out of every three women has some sexual abuse story or sexual misuse story, which is the same for men, really. But somehow my connection and my passion grew to work specifically with women. So, coupled with that, I also focus on what I like to refer to as the basic primal needs. So, our original caregivers have a job and a responsibility that some of them fulfill and some of them do not. And part of this responsibility is to support us in feeling cared for, loved, accepted, valued, appreciated, to encourage our sense of self, our sense of self-esteem, our sense of well-being. Those are the basic primal needs. When those primal needs are not met, we tend to store these developmental traumas in our bodies. And I came to see that a lot of this storage takes place down in the pelvic region in the lower belly, what's also known as the root chakra and the second chakra. So then backtracking a little bit, when I first spoke and I mentioned about the sexual abuse or misuse, that stress and tension is going to be in the same area. So I came to realize through BBTR, which is body-centered therapy combining with breath work, that the pelvic region is an area of a lot of tension and block. So if we're blocked in our first and second chakra, how then does our energy rise up towards freedom, right? Towards love in the heart, towards expression in the throat, towards seeing, towards God. If we're already blocked in the beginning, all we're going to do at that point is bypass. So kind of what's known in the spiritual community as spiritual bypassing. So we can bypass our stories and our traumas, but it's not authentic. Because underneath that is still the beliefs and still the storage in the body of this stress and tension. So instead of offering something that's going to give people or women a reference to freedom, I'm offering something that's going to take care of and open what is blocking our experience of freedom. So it's not having a reference, but it's having a reality of freedom
Mm-hmm.
because we're removing what's getting in the way. So I choose to do work with women only because the work is really intimate and really profound. And I want to support women to co create with me a space of intimacy and trust and vulnerability where we can bring the light into our shadows, expose it, and really move in to acceptance and integration and resolution and ultimately freedom. So in the groups, we're combining breath work, which has its foundation in BBTR, biodynamic breath and trauma release. It's an open mouth, connected breathing, no pause, no separation in between the breath. And the breath acts as a bridge from the unconscious to the conscious. So we're bringing forward our traumas and our stories and our beliefs that are in our cellular memories to the surface. However, instead of going into talk therapy, which most of us do, we allow the body to express and have gentle catharsis and movement and opening, and it starts to release the tension that is keeping these stories in place. So, coupled with the breath work, I focus on self-inquiry, a lot of which is based on the work of Byron Katie, and other just self-inquiry questions that get created in the moment, in the process, that will help support us to look at our beliefs and discover all the things that are not true that we're holding as truth. So we're exposing the non-truths and turning it around to reality. So again, we have the breath work, which is combining body work. We have the self-inquiry, and we focus a lot on exposure. I'm really a firm believer of freeing our minds by telling our stories. Not to focus on the story or keep the story alive, but on the contrary, to speak it so we can let go of it and then make space to actually bring in love and acceptance and peace and freedom. We find when we're exposing that we're not alone. And one of the biggest things about trauma is that we think we're alone. So we hold it and we hide it and we keep our stories trapped. And so think of all the energy that we use to protect ourselves. Once we expose and we realize we're not alone and everybody actually can meet us and see us, that energy is then free to actually move into living the life that is truly meant for you. We often have some kind of belief where it's like, oh my God, if they only knew this, I would die, right? What's the biggest thing you're keeping? Because if somebody knew, you would just die. So let's take a risk and a chance and expose what that is. And then suddenly you see that 20 other women actually relate and are keeping the same secrets and the same stories. And once we are comfortable being seen and meeting, there's just a spontaneous shift that happens innately. It's like you can feel the energy just begin to open, and you can feel the breath coming in deeper, right? Like I don't have to hide this anymore. So again, we have the breath work combining with the body work, meaning that we're going to do specific body work techniques to help open the heart, combining with breath. Then we're going to do certain body work techniques to help open the psoas, which is the psoas muscle, which is in the lower belly, is the seat of our soul. All of our stories and our fight or flight, our nervous system tension is all hidden in the psoas muscle. So we're going to focus on the psoas, and then we're going to do 2 sessions focusing on the pelvis, doing deep body work, intimate. We're not inside the vagina, but we're around the whole region. working on every muscle and every joint that's in the pelvic area. So breath work, body work, self-inquiry, exposure, and then we're going to support all of that with conscious movement and dance and celebration and joy and humor and whatever we can do to help make the profundity of the rest of the work easier. And I usually choose beautiful places. So we have the Mama Earth and the nature all in support as well. It's just so valuable.
Yeah.
So, Elizabeth, at this point, it would be helpful if you have a specific question or if you feel like that actually took care of everything.
Well, one question that came up for me just now is that I mentioned breath work to several people, and their immediate reaction was, "Oh yes, I did that." And then when I inquired, I said, "Oh yes, I shouted and I punched pillows for a couple of hours." How is the work that you're doing different?
Thank you for that. It's actually very different. So this initial punching and screaming and catharting is valuable for people who have never used their voice, used their expression. It removes the first layer of armoring, but we're going deeper. Okay, we're not looking for this gigantic catharsis, which leads to this feeling of the greatest orgasm of your life. And then you're lying there, right, with this full feeling of release and joy and this reference of freedom. But yet the next day, nothing really moved from the nervous system. It was just a vent and a temper tantrum. Again, for people who have never done it once or twice, super helpful. But after that, it's not really touching the cellular memories or the core issues. So we bring somatic experience in with the breath work, which keeps you connected to the body and in your process with slow movements. So let's say you've already done the 1 or 2 sessions of just ultimate catharsis. After that, when a movement comes, you're going to be invited to slow it down. So the arm wants to go like this, slow it down. Feel it. Really connect to this movement with your breath. And this is what opens it from the cellular memories and the nervous system, not just a temper tantrum. So lots of people say in this kind of breath work, they have this reference or satori of enlightenment and freedom. But again, it's not sustainable because you never took care of what keeps you from living that way all the time. So we want people to be free, but authentically. So let's take care of what's in the way of living like that all the time so you can live like that all the time, not just go to a breath session, have a reference of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? We want to transform your reality. And this work authentically does that.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I was getting shivers as you were talking. That's how much it resonates. What you're doing resonates with me. So
yeah, I just felt it too.
Okay. So
good.
So good. So how can people find out more details about the workshop in Peru? And also I want to, and how can they get in contact with you if they want to know more from you? And then before you say that, if anybody is interested in finding out about what we're going to plan, maybe towards the end of the year, let's say in November, just let me know. And my email is haynes.elizabeth@gmail.com. Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so for Peru, I'll tell you a little bit about the area. It's in the Sacred Valley, and it's outside of a town called Pisac, which is one of the more famous towns in the Sacred Valley. And it's a teeny little village with a couple of houses and this retreat center.
Yeah.
And literally the walls of the Andes is like in the perimeter of this
Yeah.
valley where the center is. And there's an amazing waterfall that's in walking distance. So we're nestled in between the mountains. It is just magic. The retreat center is beautiful and comfortable and clean. There's a lovely man who does all the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
The meals are vegetarian, vegan, and raw, and he prepares them all right there in the kitchen where we're eating. So it really feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
I believe most of the rooms are triples. I think there might be one or two singles. Actually, they just built some new ones, so I'm not certain.
Yeah.
But when I was there last, it was mostly triples. Again, it's very isolated, very private. It's really just us in this little valley. Traveling is actually quite simple. And we can get into that later, but
Sure.
I just want you all to know that not to be intimidated by the travel. It's easy. And we'll give you step-by-step directions in what to do. So it's June 15th to the 21st. So we begin the evening of the 15th, and we have an introduction. And then we have the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, 5 full days. And then we complete by lunchtime on the 21st. And including the workshop and hopefully a sweat lodge with a local water pourer and all the meals, it's $1,150.
Unbelievable.
So it's affordable.
Totally unbelievable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really want to.
Yeah.
I want it to be available. It's really my priority. It's not often that a bunch of women can really gather and co-create together this environment to unravel, to investigate, to identify, to integrate, to resolve, to heal. So we do it together. I might be there as the facilitator, but we're doing it together. We really co-create this. I ask for a 30% deposit, which is non-refundable. Unless, of course, there's a medical emergency or situation, then, of course, there's flexibility. The complete details can be found on biodynamicbreath.com. Whoops, sorry about that noise. Biodynamicbreath.com. There you will find a link that says events. And under events, you see all the biodynamic breath and trauma release trainings. And then you see workshops. And underneath the workshops, you'll see Tao of Gratitude. And the whole description is there, including my email and how to contact me for registration information. However, for all the women that will be joining me through Beautiful Elizabeth, contact her. And she will be the liaison between the two of us. Yeah. So you go to bbbiodynamicbreath.com for all the details, and then report back to Elizabeth, and she will take care of the rest.
And that means I'm going. I was thinking about it, but that's it. I'm going. It's all the laughing that did it.
It's all the laughing. It's serious. It's like I talk about it seriously, but then we laugh.
Ultimately, it's you're free to laugh.
We're so free to laugh. Give thanks.
Yes.
And I really do my best to bring humor because everything else is so profound and it could be so intense. So let's balance it with joy and with humor. Even though it's deep, it doesn't have to be so serious, right? I mean, it is what it is. And laughter is the key to everything.
First you cry and then you dance and laugh.
Yeah. Maybe first you're angry Then you
Oh, I
cry.
don't know.
Then we laugh.
Whatever. Punch pillows.
Pillow.
Okay, well, yeah,
Um,
well,
if you have any questions, if any of
yeah.
you have any questions, I mean, I can tell you my email, but it's a little complicated. So it might be best to just get in touch with Elizabeth.
Mm,
She will connect us, and I'm happy to
mm,
answer any
yeah.
questions and support you all in the best of my ability to to meet your needs for understanding, for connection, for safety,
Hmm.
and we can do this together.
All
And
right.
Elizabeth and I are hopefully going to put together one or two other events in the US in the last part of the year. So there's that too. So stay tuned for that. But at the same time, I highly recommend Peru. It's
Yeah.
magic. And then you can make a holiday of it too and spend some time traveling.
And I know the best guide to Machu Picchu ever.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Ever.
Buddy just asked this morning.
Yeah, she's perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you so,
being such a blessing
thank you
to
so much.
us. Thank you.
Mm.